The sound of thunder always reminds me of the night he finally stopped pretending I didn't exist. I can hear it now as I stand in his penthouse office, supposedly reviewing security protocols for next week's shipment, but really just memorizing the new ink that's appeared on his neck, a serpent coiled around a dagger. Fresh enough that I can still see the slight redness at the edges. You're distracted. Abel's voice cuts through my thoughts like a blade, and I realize he's watching me through the reflection in the floor-to-ceiling windows, those gray eyes sharp enough to draw blood. Welcome to Roses and Revolvers, where every story leaves a scar. If stories like this keep you on the edge of your seat, hit subscribe and comment where you are watching from, because the next one might be even darker. Just tired, I lie, dropping my gaze back to the tablet in my hands. The rain streaks down the glass behind him, turning the city lights into watercolor smears 40 stories below. He doesn't believe me. He never does. But he also doesn't push, because that would require acknowledging that I'm more than just another employee in his criminal empire. That would require seeing me. It's been 9 years now? My own voice echoes in my head, sounding too much like the therapist I stopped seeing 3 years ago. Don't you think it's time to accept he'll never look at you the way you look at him? He doesn't even know I exist, I'd told her. Not really. I'm just his most efficient problem solver. His invisible right hand. It's true. In the 9 years I've worked for Abel Constantine, he's looked at me, really looked, not the professional assessment he gives everyone in his orbit, maybe 6 times. I've counted. I've cataloged each instance like evidence in a case I'm building against my own heart. 6 times in 3,285 days. The first time was my interview, when I'd solved a logistics problem his entire team had spent weeks on. The second was when I took a bullet meant for him and didn't scream. The others blur together now, brief moments when something I said or did made those ice-gray eyes sharpen with what might have been interest before the shutters came down again. Abel Constantine is everything I should have run from the moment I met him. Dangerous, merciless, completely untouchable. He controls half the city's underground with a combination of strategic brilliance and controlled violence that terrifies even his allies. He's also devastatingly beautiful in that way that makes smart women stupid, all brutal elegance and dark ink crawling up his throat and those custom Italian suits that fit him like sin. And he treats me like furniture. Like expensive, useful furniture he'd notice if it went missing, but furniture nonetheless. I've watched him negotiate with cartel bosses, execute traitors without blinking, and cycle through a rotation of model-perfect women who last exactly 3 weeks before he gets bored. The pattern never changes. They arrive on his arm looking triumphant. They leave looking devastated. But me? I get polite distance. Professional courtesy. The kind of careful respect you'd show a loaded gun you have no intention of firing. Until tonight. Tonight, I'm leaving. I have my resignation letter folded in my purse, a plane ticket to Portland tucked inside my passport, and a new job lined up at a nonprofit that has nothing to do with blood or bullets or men who look like fallen angels. Tonight, I'm going to walk out of this office and finally stop loving a man who's spent 9 years perfecting the art of not seeing me. I just have to get through the next 10 minutes without breaking. Rachel. His voice again, closer now. I didn't hear him move, but I can feel him behind me, a wall of controlled danger that makes my pulse spike. Sir. I keep my eyes on the tablet, on the meaningless numbers blurring across the screen. Look at me. It's not a request. I turn, and for the first time in 9 years, Abel Constantine is close enough that I can see the storm brewing in those gray eyes. Close enough that I can smell his cologne, something dark and expensive that I've associated with longing for nearly a decade. Close enough that when the thunder rolls again, shaking the windows, I can see his jaw tighten like he's restraining something violent. You're leaving, he says. Not a question. Of course he knows. He always knows everything. Yes. No. The single word carries the weight of an empire. You're not. And in that moment, as lightning fractures the sky behind him and turns his face into something beautiful and terrible, I realize I've made a catastrophic miscalculation. I thought after 9 years, I knew Abel Constantine. I thought I understood the rules of this game we weren't playing. But the way he's looking at me now, like I'm prey that's been foolish enough to run, tells me I never knew him at all. The silence between us stretches and breaks. And everything changes. The resignation letter feels like a suicide note in my pocket. I've rewritten it 17 times over the past month, each version trying to strike the impossible balance between professional and final. The current draft sits in a cream envelope, my hands shaking as I slide it across Abel's desk during what I thought would be a routine morning briefing. He doesn't touch it. Doesn't even glance down. Portland, he says instead, and my blood turns to ice. Nonprofit work. Community outreach coordinator. Salary is insulting, but the benefits are decent. His eyes finally lift to mine, and they're empty in a way that terrifies me more than anger would. The apartment you put a deposit on is in a complex with subpar security. 3rd floor, corner unit. Big windows. The room tilts. How? You used your real name, Rachel. His voice is silk over steel. Did you really think I wouldn't have you monitored? 9 years of self-preservation scream at me to back down, apologize, forget this ever happened. But I've already burned too many bridges in my mind to retreat now. You don't own me. Don't I? He stands, and the motion is so controlled it feels predatory. You've been mine since the moment you walked into my world. The fact that I never touched you doesn't change that. He circles the desk, each step deliberate, and I'm suddenly aware of how alone we are. How soundproof this office is. How the security outside answers only to him. So here's what's going to happen, Abel continues, close enough now that I can see the pulse beating in his tattooed throat. You're going to take back that letter. Cancel Portland. And admit what we both know. What's that? I whisper. His hand catches my chin, forcing me to hold his gaze, and his next words detonate my entire world. That you've been waiting 9 years for me to claim you. And Rachel, his thumb traces my bottom lip with devastating gentleness. The wait is over. The thunder outside sounds like applause for my surrender. The storm hits like God's throwing a tantrum. Rain hammers the windows so hard I flinch, and somewhere in the building below, the emergency lights flicker on. Abel doesn't move from where he has me pinned, not physically, but with the weight of 9 years of unspoken things finally given voice. Portland, he repeats, like the word tastes bitter. You are going to disappear into some sanitized existence and pretend you didn't spend nearly a decade learning how to read my silences. That's called healing. That's called running. Lightning splits the sky, illuminating the fury carved into his features. Did you think I kept you close all these years out of convenience? That I subjected myself to watching you exist, just outside my reach, because you're efficient with logistics. If you made it this far, you're not just watching, you're part of this story now. Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. My heart is trying to break through my ribs. You treated me like I was invisible. I treated you like you were untouchable. His voice drops to something raw, dangerous. Do you have any concept of the restraint it took? Watching you walk through my world with that brilliant mind and those eyes that see too much, knowing that the second I reached for you, I'd stain you with everything I am. The lights die completely. We're alone in the dark, 40 stories above a city holding its breath, and I can hear him breathing like he's been running. The nonprofit, he continues, and there's something almost mocking in his tone now. I called your future boss. Nice woman. She was very understanding when I explained you wouldn't be taking the position. Horror floods through me. You didn't. I bought the entire organization an hour ago. The thunder drowns out my gasp. You're not leaving, Rachel. You were never leaving. His hand finds my waist in the darkness, possessive and final. Because if you try to run again, I'll burn down every city you hide in until you remember who you belong to. I don't belong to anyone. His mouth crashes into mine, and the world ends. The kiss breaks me open like lightning splits trees. When Abel finally pulls back, I'm gasping against his chest, my fingers twisted in his suit jacket like I'm drowning. which I am. I've been drowning in him for 9 years, and he just kicked away my last piece of driftwood. I made myself a promise, he says into the darkness, his voice wrecked in a way I've never heard. The night you took that bullet for me. Do you remember what you said when you woke up in the hospital? I remember everything about that night. The gunfire. The way time slowed. The choice I made without thinking. I said it was my job. You said, I'm fine, just get back to work. His laugh is bitter, broken. You nearly died protecting me, and you apologized for the inconvenience. That's when I knew I was in trouble. Thunder shakes the building. His hands frame my face in the dark, thumbs tracing my cheekbones like he's memorizing me. I promised myself I'd keep you clean. That I wouldn't drag you deeper into this world than you already were. That I'd let you leave someday and build something good, something far away from blood and violence and men like me. Abel. But watching you actually try to leave? His forehead drops to mine, and his next words sound like a confession ripped from his chest. It broke something already cracked inside me, Rachel. Something I didn't even know could still break. The emergency lights flicker back on, casting his face in harsh red shadows. What I see there steals my breath, not the controlled crime lord I've known for 9 years, but something feral. Desperate. Dangerous. So here's the truth, he continues, backing me against the window until I can feel the storm vibrating through the glass at my spine. I don't care about promises anymore. I don't care about keeping you clean. I don't care about anything except making sure you never try to leave me again. His hand slides up my throat, not threatening, but possessive in a way that makes my pulse spike. Tell me you understand what I'm saying. I understand that I've spent 9 years loving a man who was holding himself back by sheer force of will. I understand that whatever restraint kept us apart just shattered like the lightning outside. I understand that I'm in serious danger, but not the kind I should run from. What happens now? I whisper. His smile is all predator. Now I stop pretending you're not mine. The door to his office locks with a quiet click that sounds like a verdict, and I realize with terrifying clarity that I've been waiting for this moment since the day we met. He moves toward me with lethal grace, and my last coherent thought is that some prisons are built from wanting. Then Abel touches me like he's claiming territory, and thinking becomes impossible. 9 years of distance evaporate in seconds. Abel's mouth finds mine again, but this time there's no hesitation, no restraint, just raw hunger that tastes like surrender and damnation. His hands slide into my hair, tilting my head back with a control that makes my knees weak, and I hear myself make a sound I don't recognize. Say you're mine, he demands against my lips, backing me harder against the rain-streaked glass. The city sprawls 40 stories below, a witness to my complete unraveling. Say it, Rachel. The words catch in my throat. Admitting it makes it real. Makes this point of no return permanent. His teeth graze my neck, right over my pulse, and I gasp. 9 years I've watched you. Wanted you. Kept myself on a leash because I thought I was protecting you. His hand spans my throat, feeling my heartbeat spike. But you don't want protection, do you? You want this. He's right. God help me, he's right. Yes, I whisper, and something in him breaks free. The kiss turns consuming. Possessive. He claims my mouth like he's marking territory, like he's erasing every thought I ever had of leaving. My back presses against the cold glass, the storm raging behind me while a different kind of storm devours me from the front. Look at me, Abel commands, pulling back just enough to meet my eyes. His are molten silver, feral with barely leashed violence and want. I need you to understand what you're agreeing to. Once I have you, I don't let go. Not for Portland. Not for safety. Not for anything. Lightning illuminates his face, beautiful, brutal, mine. Then don't let go, I breathe. He makes a sound low in his throat, almost animal, and then his hands are everywhere. Possessive. Claiming. The silk of my blouse tears, I hear the buttons scatter across marble, and I should care, but I don't. I can't. Not when he's touching me like I'm his salvation and his destruction wrapped in one. The whole city can see us, I manage, but he just grins against my throat. Good. Let them know who you belong to. The storm peaks outside as he takes everything I've been saving for him, and I realize with devastating clarity that I'm not being broken. I'm being freed. Hours later, or maybe minutes, time has lost meaning. I'm boneless against him, his suit jacket draped over my shoulders. The storm has gentled to rain. Abel's phone buzzes insistently on the desk, and when he finally checks it, his entire body goes rigid. What? I ask, still floating. His expression shudders into something deadly, the crime lord snapping back into place. We have a problem. He turns the phone toward me, and my blood freezes. It's a photo of us, taken through the window during the storm. His hands on me, my head thrown back. Unmistakably intimate. The message below it reads, * didn't know the Ice King had a weakness. Shame if something happened to her, *. Abel's voice is arctic when he speaks. Get dressed. We're leaving. Who sent that? He's already moving, grabbing his gun from the desk drawer, and the shift from lover to killer is terrifying in its speed. Someone who just made a fatal mistake. His eyes meet mine, and what I see there is pure vengeance. And Rachel? That promise about keeping you clean? It's officially dead. Because anyone who threatens what's mine doesn't get to keep breathing. The elevator dings in the hallway outside, though no one should have access to this floor. Abel pushes me behind him, weapon raised, and I realize with sick certainty that the real danger isn't the storm outside. It's what I just became to every enemy he's ever made. His weakness. His target. His heart. Stay with me until the end, because this story will shock you to the core. Before we begin, don't forget to like this video. Hit subscribe and comment where you're watching from. Now, I wake up in Abel's bed, which is my first clue that my life has fundamentally changed. The second clue is the armed guard outside the bedroom door. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows of his penthouse, dawn bleeds across the city skyline in shades of gold and crimson. Beautiful. Deceiving. Because the 6 SUVs parked in formation below tell a different story, one written in tactical formations and loaded weapons. You're awake. Abel's voice comes from the shadows near the window. He's already dressed, gun holstered at his hip, looking every inch the dangerous man I've convinced myself I can handle. Last night's events crash back. The photo. The threat. The elevator that had contained 3 of his most trusted soldiers, not enemies, summoned the moment that message arrived. How many? I ask, my voice steadier than I feel. Guards? 20 rotating shifts. Full perimeter. He turns, and his expression is carved from stone. You don't leave this building without me. You don't take calls I haven't cleared. You don't breathe without someone watching. This is what I wanted, isn't it? To be seen by him. To matter. Careful what you wish for. For how long? Until I find who sent that photo and remove their existence from this earth. His tone suggests this is non-negotiable. You're no longer invisible, Rachel. You're the most wanted woman in my world, which makes you the most wanted target for everyone who wants to destroy me. I should be terrified. I am terrified. But there's something else burning underneath the fear, something that feels dangerously like power. I spent 9 years learning your operation, I say quietly, sitting up. His jacket from last night is still draped over the chair, evidence of what we became. I know your enemies. Your vulnerabilities. Your supply chains. Abel's eyes sharpen. What are you suggesting? That you stop treating me like something fragile to be locked away. I stand, meeting his gaze across the room. You want to keep me safe? Then let me help you hunt whoever's stupid enough to threaten us. The word slips out, ***, and something flashes in his expression. Approval. Possession. Heat. Dangerous thinking, Rachel. You made me dangerous the moment you claimed me. He crosses the room in 3 strides, framing my face with hands that have killed and protected in equal measure. If we do this, if I bring you fully into my world, there's no going back. No Portland. No normal life. Just blood and bullets and becoming exactly what everyone will fear. 9 years ago, that would have terrified me. Now, it feels like destiny. Then let's give them something to fear, I whisper. His kiss tastes like approval and ruin, and when he pulls back, he's smiling like the devil who just won a bet with God. My brilliant, reckless Rachel. You're going to be magnificent. He pulls out his phone, already making calls, already mobilizing his empire. I watch him transform into the crime lord I've served for nearly a decade, but this time I'm not on the outside looking in. I'm standing at the center of the storm. Then his phone rings, a number that makes his entire body go still. What? I ask as his expression turns to ice. He answers, listens for 5 seconds, and his face becomes a death mask. They have your sister, he says flatly. And they want to trade her life for yours. The world tilts sideways. I don't have a sister. I've been alone since my parents died 12 years ago. I've told Abel this. He knows. The message came with a photo, he continues, turning the screen toward me with lethal calm. They're very convincing. The woman in the image has my eyes. My bone structure. She's bound to a chair in what looks like a warehouse, terror written across features that mirror mine with impossible accuracy. That's not possible, I breathe, but my heart is screaming something different. Abel's already moving, grabbing weapons, his organization snapping into formation. Possible or not, we have 3 hours to decide if you're worth more to me than her life. His eyes meet mine, and for the first time since I've known him, I see something that might be fear. And Rachel? Whoever orchestrated this knows exactly how deep this goes. They know what you mean to me. He pulls me close, fierce, and possessive. Which means they've been watching us far longer than one night. The question hangs between us like a blade. How long have I been targeted? How many of the last 9 years were my own choices, and how many were someone else's design? And the more terrifying question neither of us says aloud. What if loving Abel was never my decision at all?